Good evening, Aslam Sejahtera Doctor. We are from group number 13. We will present about economic factor affecting homelessness in Malaysia. Myself, Mitra Anbanahan. My metric number is 272567. Today I'll be presenting about background of studies. So for background of studies for this topic is that we will talk about the economic factor that affecting homelessness in Malaysia and the number of who is homeless for past 30 years. Moreover, we also calculated the descriptive analysis, correlation analysis, normality test, specification test, or we also call as reset test, heteroscedasticity test, multi-correlation test, autocorrelation test, and also analysis test. Homelessness is actually lacking stable and appropriate housing. When we compare to the general population, people who are homeless experience higher rates of adverse physical and mental health outcomes. We estimate for about 100 million people worldwide were homeless and as many as 1 billion people. In this topic, we also uh, we will also talk about how to what are the factors affecting the homelessness and also how to overcome it. So that's all from me. Thank you.
A very good evening, Professor. My name is Yashni Kumari Sundrit and my metric number is 272389 and I'm going to present on the problem statement. The principal motivation behind this examination is to distinguish the financial aspects, factors influencing homelessness in Malaysia. Different precise assessments concerning private endeavour has shown the gainful result of private interest in Malaysia convey trading as time goes on from 1991 to 2020. Taking into account the previous examinations, the crisis happened in Malaysia in past various years has given unwanted impact on the country's monetary and Malaysia huge passage regions. Thus, this paper is by and large to figure out the opening between private endeavour and passage region in Malaysia from 1991 to 2020. The Public Authority of Malaysia is endeavouring to find causes of action to handle this social issue. This issue has become a social issue seen as a substitute kind of life norms, social characteristics, and exacting characteristics in the public field. It is shocking that this get-together outline a neighbourhood tremendous city, especially in Kuala Lumpur, and by suggestion, defame the central place point of the country, similarly as invited other social issues. If the neighbourhood, on tolerating that this is just a normal issue, the greater request of the extending number of people being desperate will not at any point be fathomed. Next, I'm going to present on the objective of this study. The purpose of this research was to conduct an economic factor affecting homelessness in Malaysia. This research is also carried out to observe the presence of autocorrelation and heteroscedasticity using multiple regression. The objective of this research is, first, to identify the economic factors affecting homelessness in Malaysia, and the second one is to identify the differences in intention of being homeless in terms of gender, age group, years being homeless.
Now I will be presenting about method of analysis. Correlation analysis is a statistical technique used to assess the strength of the relationship between two quantitative variables. This means the correlation analysis is used to analyze quantitative data collected from research methods such as survey and opinion poll. This is access whether there are any important similarities trend pattern between two variables. Multi-regression analysis and ordinary least square method used in the analysis. It is used to estimate Malaysian export model, perform hypothesis testing to test the significant model variables. The following are the formulas and calculations using the two method. This is the descriptive analysis where we can see the exchange rate, inflation rate, residual, and also the number of people. So it shows the mean, median, maximum, minimum, standard deviation, skewness, quartiles, Jacques-Barra probability sum, and some standard deviation, and also the observation. So this is the line graph of the number of homeless people. So we can see from 1991 till 2020, we can see the number of people increases, and it's like it increases grossly on 2028. So this is the line graph for inflation rate, exchange rate, and also the number of homeless people. This is the covariant analysis where we use the sample for 1991 to 2020. There are 30 observations. So in this slide, we observe whether the residue appear normally distributed. We use histogram normative test. From the diagram, it shows that the residual are almost perfectly normal distributed. The skewness of the histogram is 1.7677, while the courteous is 5.8826. For a normally distributed variable, the skewness should be 3. Therefore, we can conclude that they are almost perfectly normal distributed. Thank you.
Next, I'm going to present on the specification test. The diagram above shows the Ramsey reset test. It tests whether non-linear combinations of the fitted values help explain the response variable. The test shows that the F statistic equal to 0.5962, while the high p-value is 0.4467, which is larger than significant level, which is 0.05. Therefore, null hypothesis cannot be rejected. The estimated model has no problem, thus the chosen functional form is correct. Next is the heteroscedasticity test. The table shows the Bruce-Pagan test to test heteroscedasticity. The value of the chi-square statistic is 1.2284 and the F value is 0.5763, which are less than their critical values. Their corresponding p-value are 0.5411 and 0.5687 respectively, which are greater than 0.05. Therefore, we fail to reject the null hypothesis of homoscedasticity at a 5% significant level. The test is statistically insignificant. Therefore, the error term is homoscedastic. We can conclude the model is homoscedastic. Next is the heteroscedasticity test. The table shows the Bruce-Pagan test to test heteroscedasticity. The value of the chi-square statistic is 1.2284 and the F value is 0.5763, which are less than their critical values. Their corresponding p-value are 0.5411 and 0.5687 respectively, which are greater than 0.05. Therefore, we fail to reject the null hypothesis of homoscedasticity at a 5% significant level. The test is statistically insignificant. Therefore, the error term is homoscedastic. We can conclude the model is homoscedastic. Now I'm going to present on the multicollinearity problem. The table shows above is variance inflation factor, where it is used to test multicollinearity problem. If VIF is equal to 1, there is no multicollinearity problem. From the table, the VIF values of all variables greater than 1. All variables show that multicollinearity problem exists. However, the VIF values for all variables are less than 10. Therefore, it can be said that the collinearity among variables are comparatively low, or the multicollinearity problem is relatively low. Next is autocorrelation test. The diagram above shows the Lagrange multiplier test to test autocorrelation problem. The p-value of both f-test and chi-square are 0.0044 and 0.0050, which is lower than 0.005. Therefore, we reject the null hypothesis at a 5% significance level. This shows that there is no evidence of serial correlation in this model. We can conclude that there is a correlation in this model. Next, I'm going to present on the analysis result. On average, if all independent variables are 0, then the predicted number of homeless people is negative 257.91. On average, holding exchange rate and inflation rate decrease rate by 1. Then the number of homeless people will decrease by negative 42.79. On average, if the exchange rate increased by 1, the number of homeless people will increase by 352.83. Besides, in overall, p-value is 1, which is greater than 0.05. HO is not rejected. The test is statistically significant at the level of significance. Inflation level and number of homeless people level more than 5% significance, while exchange level is less than 5% significance. R squared in the diagram above 0.2988, which means that 29.88% of the variation in number of homeless people can be explained by inflation rate and exchange rate. In conclusion, this study has highlighted the economic factors affecting homelessness in Malaysia. Homelessness originates from numerous roots and therefore has no single straightforward arrangement. We had tested the influence of inflation rate, exchange rate, and also number of homeless people. In this study, we have run various diagnostics checking and found that this model have no or only weak heteroscedasticity, multicollinearity, and autocorrelation problem. In the end of the study, we found that the sample regression function of this case is number of homeless people equal to negative 257.91 plus 352.83 exchange rate plus negative 42.79 inflation rate. Thank you.